ecosystem. Right here we have on stage our next speaker. Please welcome Shri Hardeep Singh Puri, the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs and Petroleum and Natural Gas, to talk about renewing India. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the Rising India Summit. A huge round of applause. And he will be in conversation with Shweta Punch. Take it away, Shweta.
Thank you, Chandra. A very warm welcome, Mr. Puri. It's an honor for us to host you here at Rising India. Mr. Puri,
thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you for having me here today on a very auspicious day. And I want to take this opportunity to wish all of you a very, very happy Ram Navami.
a very happy Ram.
I also believe that after 496 years, the temple where Lord Ram was born, Ram Janmabhoomi, will be ready, and next year these Ram Navami celebrations will be in Ayodhya, and I hope your channel covers them then.
Well, that's a very, very heartening note, sir, to begin the conversation with.
Thank you.
Wonderful. You're absolutely right. There is urban renewal, and the kind of work that we are seeing in this space has not been witnessed in India for a very, very long time. I want to begin by asking you,
ground reality on what is happening. Let me start by saying that between 1947, when the urban population was about 17%, and the total population of India was, I think, what, 350 million, to the time that the Honorable Prime Minister assumed responsibility, I'm speaking of May 2014, the urban space was subjected to what can only be described as neglect. In some of my harsher moments, I have used the word that neglect was criminal. And for whatever reason, I think it best comes out, not only because the Honorable Prime Minister has been able to bring about a transformative change, but the figures show that. And whether it's the built in the 10 years between 2004 and 2014, total number was 13.46 lakhs in their affordable housing segment, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana equivalent. From those 13 lakhs, in the 8 years of the Modi government, it has gone up to 1.22 crores, 9 times higher.
can we get a round of applause for that? I think that's really...
The total investment in housing was, in those 10 years of the UPA government, 20,303 crores. In the 8 years of the Modi government, it's 2 lakh plus crores. Again, it's 10 times higher. The total, I'll spare you the other details, but the total urban spend, which is all these central schemes put together in those 10 years, was 1,57,000. I can give you the same in terms of urban transport, the metro system. It started in Mr. Vajpayee's time from zero. In 2014, the total kilometrage was 229 kilometers. Today we have 850 kilometers of metro operational and 1,050 kilometers under construction. We are the 5th largest metro system in the world. In a few months' time, we'll be the 3rd largest. And by the end of next year, we will be the 2nd largest after China. We will even replace the United States, which is at 1,056 kilometers. We are very close to that. So this is the kind of work which is being done. And I think it all starts with the kind of focus on urban rejuvenation, which the Honorable Prime Minister brought in May 2014. That is reflecting in the work which is being done in all the schemes.
We are redesigning 6,000-year-old cities. How are you ensuring that heritage marries the contemporary architecture that India is looking at introducing right now? How are you maintaining that balance?
See, I can answer your question either in a general philosophical way, and I see many more educated and enlightened people who do a better job than me on that. But let me give you some examples. We are a 5,000 or plus year-old civilization. We're only a 75-year-old country. When we became an independent country, we inherited colonial heritage, historically important buildings, forts, temples going back hundreds and thousands of years. Clearly, the answer to that lies in being able to take that historical and cultural legacy and build Rashtrapati Bhavan, North Block, South Block, the Parliament building. Let me take the Parliament building. If I remember correctly, the conceptualization of it started probably around 1916. Thereabout, it was built about in 1921 or so. It was never intended to be the legislature of an independent country. Independence was not in the minds of the colonial power when they designed that governing architecture. They thought that this would serve the purpose of a colonial administration and have an imperial, legislature, whatever they needed. We became independent in 1947. Why is it that it took up till 2014, and only after 2014, when the Honorable Prime Minister arrives on the scene, that attention is devoted to refurbishing? No old building will come down. The old parliament will
So you did face a lot of flack.
Nothing which is of, enduring historical value, and I'm not trying to qualify that statement. We are a robust democracy, a very vibrant one. We are also now pretty good at the art of what is called the false narrative. So when we were redesigning the Kartavya Path, what was it? It was called the Rajpath.
Yes.
The terminology also reflects a colonial mindset. And I was subjected to some very interesting criticism. It said कि यहाँ पे green cover हट जाएगा, jamun trees which are there will be removed. So the fact of the matter is, and I said it then, today, that criticism is conspicuous by its absence. There's not a single voice which says that. I kept saying that the green cover will be increased 3 times. The water bodies will be enlarged. At one point, no. We were paying 1,000 crores, we still are, by way of rent for government to be housed, offices of government to be housed.
Right.
And some of the construction which took place in the 1960s, you know, one of the buildings in which one of my ministries is situated, I don't know where the architectural or design inspiration came for those. But, you know, the fact of the matter is there's no parking, there's no space. They're like, I don't like using the word slums because I always prefer calling them informal settlements. But these are really urban slums. So you'll have, instead of that, new buildings, modern, well-lit, using the best of technology, airy, a more conducive working environment. And it's all work which is taking place right now.
I want to switch gears a little bit from urban planning to a little bit of politics.
To
Politics, since we're running out of time. And he was being forced to name Prime Minister Modi as one of the key conspirators. So I want to get a reaction from you on how do you view, you know, Mr. Gandhi's politics, whether it is his comments on Mr. Savarkar or it is him undermining India's democracy when he's visiting abroad, or it is him playing the victim card.
let me position myself in response to that, if I may say, a very inviting, slightly provocative question. And let me respond to that by separating the different components. Everyone, no matter where he or she is born, is influenced by the kind of DNA you come with, the kind of nurturing you receive in terms of the setting that you are made to grow up. Some of us are made to work very hard as part of our upbringing. To what Mr. Shah said, and I fully empathize, and I think he's making a very, very, very important point. But let me say that a comment made by any Indian politician about Veer Savarkar ji, let me come to that. Look, I'm a student of history, and what I know from my study of Indian history is that a lot of people made outstanding contributions. They made sacrifices of a very high order. And Veer Savarkar ji was one of them. He's probably going to be in any listing that you attempt, he'll be right at the top of that listing. Sentenced to life imprisonment. Okay? Now, to compare yourself in terms of what Savarkar ji's contribution is, and by the way, I'm married to a Maharashtrian, so that sentiment runs even deeper in the state of Maharashtra. It resonates with all of us. I'm not surprised at the reaction that has taken place, including from the so-called allies of the in a statement which is in the public domain. The young leader, not so young, he's past 50, said he named 3 members of one community. Mr. Nirav Modi, Mr. Lalit Modi, and he named the Honorable Prime Minister. And then he went on to make the astonishing statement that if you look for other people with that name, you'll find many more XYZs there. I found that unbelievable. But a particular member of that community sought recourse through the judicial process, and the gentleman has been convicted by a court. So the recourse to that lies through appealing to that and getting a stay, it is a very simple solution. You find forms of melodramatics. Now, is he the first Indian politician to have been disqualified through from membership through a action which has come through the courts? I don't think so. The figure I may not have, somebody mentioned 12, I think it's 17. 17 people have been so disqualified.
Right.
Now, the executive, the judiciary, the legislature, these are all important segments in a democracy. And his disqualification as a member of the House came as part of that. There's no discretion exercise there.
Sure.
If you are disqualified by court, and there is a long drama about that ordinance which was torn. I was serving as an ambassador outside, and I saw the look on the face of the then Prime Minister when the press report said that the gentleman had torn an ordinance which they had been passed by the cabinet. Now, my answer to that is that this is a politics country. Now, India is rising. I think that's also the broad
Rising
theme.
India,
Rising
yes.
India.
Yes.
Are people happy about the rising India? I think people in India are very happy about the rising India. People outside are happy about the rising India. But some people
Right.
are not that appreciative. They have their other thing. Now, to appeal to them and get them to comment on this, I find this, frankly, juvenile.
Juvenile. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Puri. It was a pleasure speaking with you. We've run out of time. I'll hand it over to Chandra.
Thank you very much, Mr. Puri. Some amazing insights on the urban side and